and he had 4 huge scratches from under his arm down to about the center of his ribs. That one looked like a cat scratch, a basic cat. 2 were kind of thick but had like an extra line coming from them, and they were poofy like a normal scratch would be. But the one that looked like a cat scratch didn't poof up at all.
I took my jacket off, and I was just, I couldn't breathe. I couldn't cry. I couldn't do anything. It was so messed up, and that's all I could say.
As I put the peroxide on his scratches, I expected it to, bubble and have a reaction, and there was nothing. I checked it out again, and, like a small amount of blood was coming off of the scratch onto the tissue that I was using, and so I knew that it was fresh.
And I couldn't really look at it. I couldn't really look at my side. I looked and I saw that I it again. And I couldn't look at it again until the next day.
And then at one point, I was sitting in my room. It was only maybe a half an hour after it happened, and Dave came in, and somehow the door had gotten shut behind him, and it was just me and him in the room. And the way he just stood there and looked at me, I was absolutely terrified of Dave. And I mean, I've known Dave for like 3 or 4 years, and I was absolutely terrified of him, and I actually yelled for the other people. I actually yelled at the top of my lungs to try and get other people to come into the room, because I felt almost like if I stood up that he would sit me back down. I was afraid of him. I mean, it was almost like it wasn't him.
After a little while, I realized that this is not a ghost we're dealing with. This is something worse. And I immediately needed to leave and pray. I went into my living room area and dropped down on my knees and my hands, and I just prayed to God for about a half hour, and with my emotions on my sleeves. Just, God, please, if something is in me, if something is on me, if something is around me, get it off of me. Get it away from me. Because I knew that was not something that was to be messed with.
Liz was really freaked out by Dave, so he had left to go back to his room or whatever and was gone for about 30 minutes, and when he came back, all of a sudden everything was normal.
I don't know, like I completely forgot about being scared, like he was okay again.
I called my brother on the way back to my dorm room and told him about it, because I was scared. And he's kind of the person I talk to help calm me down, because I know he'll pretty much believe anything I tell him, because if I'm saying it, then it really happened. But when I went upstairs and I got my guitar and came back, played it for a while, just trying to calm everybody down. So as we sit there, we decided that it'd be best if we all just kind of stayed together that night. Nobody really wanted to be alone. So we laid down and put on a movie that was a funny movie, and kind of sat around and just tried to forget about it as best we could.
And so we listened to the tape. There's, he plays it from the beginning. He hears this really scratching noise right when we enter the tunnel. And at first, I'm just like, what in the hell is that? Because I didn't hear anything when we came in the tunnel.
Sound like somebody blowing into the camera or into the audio tape.
All right, guys. You almost ready? You ready, guys? If anybody gets so freaked out that something's happening, then just, we will, I'll wait. We will report the mission. Ready? Neutral colors on. And we're going back. And we're going back. And we're going back. And we're going back.
Okay, just let it be.
Yeah, because this is what happened earlier today.
Yeah, this is exactly what happened.
And then we stopped.
You're not
not out of the tunnel yet. We are stuck.
The first distinctive thing I heard after the breathing or whatever it was as we entered the tunnel was this screeching voice. And the first thing I said is, I heard it say, leave.
When I first was listening to it, I picked up 3 words. I picked up you, here, and leave. And my roommate came back, Jason, who also went with us, and he heard the same things, but we couldn't really figure out everything.
And it was like a whisper, a deep whisper, like somebody forcing to talk. And on top of it, at the exact same time, is the high-pitched whisper. And it's a whisper.
And we listened to it a couple more times, and between Dave and I, we came to the conclusion that this voice on this tape said, you don't belong here, leave.
You know, what is that? And, you know, what did, what? Just questions everywhere.
And I just lost it. It was the first sign of emotion I had had since we turned onto the road, and I just lost it, cried.
It's been like 3 days since it's happened, and I have not yet seen the scratches. I've heard they're fading, but I haven't seen pictures of them. I haven't heard the voice on the tape. I can't, that's not something that I can deal with as of yet.
It's probably something I'm never going to forget. It was just unreal.
We've spent the last couple of days telling people about this and trying to get them to understand that this is not something they need to mess with and to stay away from this place.
But really, it's just, this is something out of a movie that we're living, and it is fucked up, and that is the only word that can describe it. It is fucked up, and it is true. And if you were able to see and be there, you would see that this stuff is not to be messed with.